Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics on Radam. Egberto Will is your host. Thank you so kindly for being here. Michael Rudnin says, I'm going to be stepping in, but I got to catch you next time, and I'm going to share right now. Folks, let's follow Mr. Rudnin's lead and share the program. We got a great program for you today. We're going to start with Biden, then we're going to bring Jose Williams in about the Washington, the walk in Washington. Man, have we got a show. We got a full of videos for you as well. So stick around for the entire thing. So the order of appearance is going to be Biden first. Real great. Bridge MCP, welcome aboard. I see I have Charlie Lindahl on the line. Charlie, I'll be with you in 2 seconds. And so anyhow, Biden first, Jose Williams second. And then we have a whole lot of bunch of stuff to show you that's going to give you that impetus to go out there and be positive and say, we are going to bring this thing home for Democrats and the progressives. Folks, we are going to have a good time. Beforehand and before we get started, let's take a quick call here, but we got a very, very full show. Senor come on in, Charlie. How you doing? Your mic is off, Charlie. You got to turn your mic on, my brother.
Okay, got it.
Talk to me.
Hey. Well, one thing I wanted to point out to you is, did you see the article? It was in recently in the HuffPost called "Culture." 19 families purchased over 90 acres of land in Georgia to create a city safe for Black people. Did you see that?
Yes, I saw that article. Actually, that was shared. I don't remember where. About they Actually, they're collecting donations right now to actually put up benches and all that kind of stuff to turn it into like a big park and stuff. That's pretty cool.
I think it's wonderful.
Yes.
And there's so much that enables, not the least of which is, let's empower people. If we're to the point where we can't seem to get the federal or state or whatever to come up with local rules that make it safe for Black people to walk around, without getting shot.
I think what they're trying to do, Charlie, is they're probably wanting to make a template of what it could look, what something could look like that so far is anathema to the American being.
Yes, I agree.
Anything else, Charlie? I got me like a full one. So you got anything else you want to drop on me real quick?
That's it for right now.
All right, my brother. Thank you for tuning in. As usual, folks, that's Charlie Lindahl, another one of our great supporters and a hell of an activist out here in Houston. Charlie, keep up your good work, brother.
You too. Thanks a lot, boss.
All right, man. Take care. Anyhow, folks, let's go ahead and get busy with Senor Biden, and then we'll come right back with Jose. So listen up and let's go.
Donald Trump wants to ask the question, who will keep you safer as president? Let's answer that question. First, some simple facts. When I was vice president, violent crime fell 15% in this country. We did it without chaos and disorder. And yes, we did it with Democratic mayors in most of the major cities in this country. The murder rate now is up 26% across the nation this year under Donald Trump. Do you really feel safer under Donald Trump? COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives, when you think about it, more lives this year than any other year for the past 100 years. More than 180,000 lives in just 6 months. An average of 1,000 people dying every day in the month of August. Do you really feel safer under Donald Trump? Mr. Trump, you want to talk about fear? Do you know what people are afraid of in America? They're afraid they're going to get COVID. They're afraid they're going to get sick and die. And that is in no small part, it's because of you. We're now on track to more than 200,000 deaths in this country due to COVID. More than 100,000 seniors have lost their lives to the virus. More cops have died from COVID this year than have been killed on patrol. Nearly 1 in 6 small businesses is closed in this country today. Do you really feel safer under Trump? What about Trump's plan to destroy the Affordable Care Act, and with it, the protections for pre-existing conditions that impacts more than 100 million Americans? Does that make you feel safer? Or how about Trump's plan to defund Social Security? The Social Security Administration's chief actuary just released a report saying that if a plan like the one Trump is proposing goes into effect, the Social Security Trust Fund would be in, I quote, permanently depleted by the middle of calendar year 2023, with no ability to pay benefits thereafter. Put it plainly, Trump's plan would wipe out Social Security, period. You feel safer and more secure now? The fear that reigns under this president doesn't stop at our shores. The Kremlin has put bounties on the heads of American soldiers. And instead of telling Vladimir Putin that there'll be no putting up with this, that there'll be a heavy price to pay, they dare touch an American soldier. This president doesn't even bring up the subject in his multiple phone calls with Putin. Been reported that Russian forces just attacked American troops in Syria, injuring our service members. Did you hear the president say a single word? Did he lift one finger? Never before has an American president played such a subservient role to a Russian leader. It's not only dangerous, it's humiliating and embarrassing for the rest of the world to see. It weakens us. Not even American troops feel safer under Trump. Donald Trump's role as a bystander in his own presidency extends to the economic plan and pain, the plan he doesn't have and the pain being felt by millions of Americans. He said this week, and I quote, "You better vote for me or you're going to have the greatest depression you've ever seen." Does he not understand and see the tens of millions of people who've had to file for unemployment this year so far? The people who won't be able to make next month's rent payment? The people who lost wages while the cost of groceries have gone up dramatically? President Obama and I stopped the Depression in 2009. We took a bad economy that was falling and turned it around. Trump took a good economy and drove it back into the ditch.
And I tell you, I have been waiting for that. I have been waiting for that. There was so much material that we should have come out with probably 2 weeks ago that probably would have thrown the nail into the coffin. Because I took that speech out. That was a 23-minute speech. I went and I cut out about, I guess it was about 8 minutes or so, and then I reduced it to 5 minutes by taking out a whole lot of the space and gaps because I wanted to get the message out in this 1 hour of our show. But that was a well-crafted speech. How do you like the intonation? How do you like the call back? Do you feel safe now? Do you feel safe now? You don't only feel safe now on the streets. You also feel safe from the virus. Do you feel safe from your lack of health care? Do you feel safe now from the police officers? I mean, that was a well-crafted speech. This is a just under 5-minute clips. Folks, make sure to share this. I'm going to put this on my website so that because, you give people a 23-minute speech, they're not going to listen to the whole thing. I encapsulated in that 5 minutes, just under 5 minutes, exactly what Americans need to hear that's going to knock every argument that Trump has out there. And we need to repeat this over and over again, because what Trump does is he says, this is going to be what Biden leaves for you. Biden is going to leave you riots. Biden is going to leave you riot. We don't say that. We say, this is Trump's America. Riots, viruses, pandemics, that is Trump's America. That is Trump's America. That is Trump's America. Do you really want to remain in Trump's America? Folks, you have to hold the bulls by the horn, and you got to give it to them all of the times. I've been hearing a lot of people. People have been calling me. I get text messages. I get people call. I get emails. Hey, Berto, we thought we really had this. The polls were all the way out. I came back and I said, let me tell you something, guys. The only way we lose is if we lose it for ourselves. There is no point in having fear. Trump has nothing to run on. You know when you're playing poker, I don't play poker, but I know the thing about having a poker face. When you play poker, you give the impression, the allure that you are great, that you can accomplish something in as much as you have nothing to accomplish. And that's what Trump is good at. He gives you the bravado that he can do something for you. Do not fall for it and do not fear. That is what they're intending for you to do. When he gives you the impression that the coronavirus is over, so he goes ahead and some of those people that attended his stuff will be dead in 3 to 4 weeks. Because they went ahead and went to that stuff maskless and sitting together and breathing in each other's atmosphere. Some of them will be dead. So let's go ahead and keep the faith up. It's not faith, actually. It's fact. And go ahead and you preach the word and you let it be known what is really going on. No fear. Forget about looking at the polls as, and then I have a special message for my white brothers and sisters. I want you all to listen up right now. Because there are two right now, as it turns out, if you look at the stats, about 90% of black folks are going to vote for Biden. About probably 70% of Latinos are going to vote for Biden. About, I don't know, 75, 80% of Asians are going to vote for Biden. Okay? A lot of people are like, oh, we hope that the black vote shows up. We hope that the Asian vote showed up. Let me tell you what vote we need to start showing up for protecting themselves as well. The white vote. Let me tell you something, my white brothers and sisters. I want to look you straight in the eye and tell you something I'm going to beg you to do. Okay? I'm going to beg you to do something. And here's what I want to beg you to do. Many of you are very non-confrontational with your families, and that is fine. Get my book. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. Here is why I'm telling you this. You have to get to their soft spot. You have to be like a virus to them and find out where that virus can attach. And you have to talk to them. And you have to find that common ground with them. And you have to be able to tell them, honey, friend, mama, daddy, whatever. It doesn't matter if I'm not asking you to become a Democrat. I am not asking you to become a liberal. I am not asking you to become a progressive. What I want you to do for us all, the country, for the family, for my daughters and my sisters, for your granddaughter, my friend, for your granddaughter, please, please, just this time, please, we cannot put the country in dire straits. I know you don't see it. Mom, dad, granddad, I know you don't see it. But for me, one time, for me, please vote appropriately. And I promise you, it's not going to work for all the folk, but it's going to be the delta that is necessary for the landslide, which is what we want. It's going to be the delta, because we are going to have the other votes. Our thing is to make sure they vote, and we have armies making sure they vote. The landslide comes from your work with your mother, your brother, your sister, your grandmother, and all of those to increase that percentage. And when we do that, brothers and sisters, we have the vote. The problem about it is being non-confrontational. Oh, I listen to my mother talking. Oh, she gets on my nerves. I can't take it. I leave the house. No, don't. Hug her. Hug her. Hug her, Mom. I need you to do this for me, Mom. Dad, I need you to do this for me. This is where you have to use all your avenues of persuasion, all of your avenues of using them as you are my family. Love your family. I have relatives that are Trumpists, okay? And that is exactly my intent. Yeah, I'm a black guy with close relatives that are actually Trump voters, Trump supporting voters to the core. Okay? So what I'm saying, this thing, you don't get scared about not winning. You win. And how do you win? You do what is necessary to win. You go against what it's easy. You go against that normal thing about just letting them be. No, you don't let them be. You know what? Since I just mentioned my book, I'm going to go ahead and say, if you want a few techniques on how to talk to them and how to reach it out, go ahead and pick this baby up. I'm going to throw that link right now into my feed. Okay, there you go. That's the link in the feed for the book. Please go ahead and get that book. But that is what we got to do. We are going to win. What Biden did was a great start. He's about 2 weeks too late. Or rather, he's 2 weeks, not too late, but he's 2 weeks late. But we have to keep that pressure on and be telling everybody, we are living in Trump's America. All the violence that is occurring isn't occurring under a Biden administration. It is occurring under a Trump administration. And I'm going a little bit over time, so I tell you I'm going to have to change up here. Let me play Jose Williams, and then we'll come back and finish up with all the other pieces that I need to talk about. I'm going to be real quick. This is about a 17-minute stint. Stay with me. We have a lot more to talk about after this, so let's get busy. Welcome to another edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. I'm here with the one and only Jose Williams. Jose Williams and I go back from the CNN iReport days of over 10 years ago when CNN was really invested into bringing iReporters from all over the country to really report what was going on in their communities. A lot of that has changed since, but welcome aboard, Jose Williams. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, E. It is very good to be with you. I'm sorry we couldn't connect yesterday, but it was just one of those days filled with excitement and all kind of overwhelmingness. So there was a lot going on yesterday, but I'm glad to be able to speak to you and your viewers today. You know, I catch your show. You know, even though I don't respond a lot, I like to sit there in the truck and see what's up with E. He's on track. He's talking about the issues, and maybe one day we'll get together. You know, it would have been great for yesterday, but here we are now.
Well, you know, we've gotten together at these functions so many times. We were together at the DNC. You drove through here to Houston, and I made sure to come and find you where you were here in Houston. So, you know, we go back a long time. Let me first tell the folks, what were you doing yesterday? What event did you attend yesterday?
Yesterday, we attended the 57th anniversary of the the March on Washington, where Martin Luther King spoke of his hopes and dreams for this country and the future of Black people within this country. That was held and put together by Al Sharpton and his organization, the National Action Network. And I got to give it to him, dude, there were seas of people there, seas. And for all those people, they had umbrellas, they had water, they had masks, they had everything was so coordinated where, you know, you would have been concerned, is this going to be, you know, handled in a very specific way so all these people would be accommodated? No problems. So a big up to our friend Al Sharpton and the National Action Network, because they did a fantastic job organizing and following through with that, with the March on Washington.
It is amazing that just the day before, there was the march on the White House where 1,500 to 2,000 people were sitting on the lawn, all without masks, presenting themselves or creating what's likely to be a mass spreading event around the country. We bring several tens of thousands of people to the mall, and they were all doing what was right. And you told me yesterday that it looked like America, the people out there. Tell us a little bit about that.
I tell you, E, you know, my brother, Ricardo Williams, who came as the Patriot, you may have seen his picture. He's in who knows how many publications now on the internet. And my wife, Lucy, there were all kinds of people there. We saw so many different organizations, from the ACLU to the Arab organizations to Asian organizations, rainbow, black, green. You could have had some Martians inside there, you know, for all I know. There were so many people, and we were all in solidarity for the issues of equality for all for this country, and to stop all the racist brutality that these police, these white police, not all of them, but, you know, the few get noticed on these harsh issues of these deaths that did not have to be, of these poor Black men doing what they normally do in this country that they love, yet are cut down in the middle of their life, leaving families to grieve for nothing. But everybody was there in solidarity. The power of that strength, man, of camaraderie and people being collective in the idea, and everybody there of like minds, wanting not only Trump out, but wanting to delve down into this issue to stop this police injustice against people of color, and its structural setup as it is structurally in all our laws, you know, local and national laws. We were all there, and I tell you, again, the March on Washington back 57 years ago had nothing on the amount of people that were there yesterday. And it was still conducted it was very coordinated. There were a lot of speakers there. I can't even, you know, I'm so kind of still overwhelmed, you know, trying to still digest it all. But there were so many speakers there. You know, Martin Luther King Jr., his daughter, of course, Al Sharpton gave a very good speech and he was tactful, but critical. You know what I mean? He got his point across as who we need to look to for leadership and who we need to get rid of.
You know, Jose, earlier we were talking about this before we kind of got cut off earlier, and you made an important statement about who Americans are. All of us are Americans now.
Yes.
All of us were Americans from the inception of this country. And in fact, in as much as, and I think you made this clear with your statement, in as much as many times some Americans want to erase Black Americans as somehow being foundational to this country, it's dispelled by the reality that first of all, the first person who died for the creation of America as a state was Crispus Attucks, which was a Black man. Isn't that true?
That is true, and that is the history. Although you might not get taught that in fifth grade and through through all your years in school. And that's something. Sorry for my finger. And that's something that my brother Ricardo Williams, he wanted to make a statement, and he came dressed in colonial wear, and all the reporters are asking him, "Was like, so what does this mean?" And as he said to everybody, "This is I'm wearing this garb." This costume because he wanted to remind all Americans, especially white Americans and white Americans in power in politics, that Black people have been in this country before it was a country. We've loved it. We helped make it a country. We've loved it ever since, fought in every war and every social uprising to make good change, yet we are denied the rights that is given to all Americans, and it's not right, and people need to understand that history so they can, maybe think back. People of goodwill can think and say, hey, like they are now with all these protests. They're like, wait a minute, my brother is the Black guy, is the Asian man, we're all one. The American Indian is the only true American, because we came here.
Exactly.
We were brought here, unwillingly, but once we got here, we have fought and died and tried to cultivate this country like any American that loves the land that he stands on.
There's a basketball player, I don't remember the name. He became a coach, and he came out and said, it's almost like I'm loving America. America does not love me back. I've heard that in so many different forms from so many different people. And my thing has always been, let's not wait for America to love us back, because we are America.
Very good. That's true.
I wanted to reply. I wish I was there in real time, because I want a lot of times for us to stop saying we're waiting for America to love us or for America to treat us well. Because I want what more of us to do is to start saying we are America. If America is not treating us well, then we are not treating us well, which means we must do what we are doing now to force our body to treat our totality well. And that's where I want us to come from. And what I've been noticing, this is so very important. A lot of people, white people and everybody else, they are starting to see the morality in that reality. And if you take a look, you've mentioned about how that protest looked yesterday on the mall, that march on the mall yesterday. And if the two people that were gunned down by that terrorist in the two people that were gunned down by that terrorist in
Wisconsin
were two white guys in the
right.
So those are the things that we're starting to see, as you expressed.
Well, that's the thing. That's the injustice that's so in your face. The young man that killed the two people in Wisconsin protesting peacefully, as is every American's right, was from Illinois. Yet that man shot people, walked up to the police that were just hanging around, and somehow, just took a bus home, and then they capture him in Illinois. So what were those police doing there? Now, and anyone of goodwill that wants to be clear and honest, if that had been a Black man just walking down the street with an M16, slung to his shoulder, he would have been shot dead. Hell, Black people have been shot as we've seen recently, killed for less than that.
For having no weapon.
Right. With no weapon, just, jogging as the guy in Atlanta, in Brunswick, Georgia, or George Floyd, it wasn't. He didn't do anything wrong. There was nothing proven. A guy thought that he might have been passing a 20. How many 20s? I've done that myself. Give a guy a 20, you get him from the cash checking place or wherever, and this looks fake. Oh, well, I just got that, and they simply exchange it. This man had to die and call for his mother with his dying breath. That is wrong. And the Republicans and Trump and those of that ilk have nothing to say. You know what? One thing, let me be clear. One thing that was said continually over in this at this march, especially from our youth that is now in college and studying these issues and going into politics, they demand. It's no more time for asking. Why are we asking for something like you so clearly espoused? We are Americans. We deserve our franchise. We are not asking anymore. We've asked for 57 years ago. Martin Luther King asked, and all our dignitaries up till this point have asked. No more asking. We demand that they recognize our right to be Americans because we are Americans.
And that is the one thing that you're so right about that, and that is the one thing that I thought was always missing in the previous types of rallies, in the previous types of where we're trying to demand get our rights. We have made it the purview of others to give something that is already ours.
Right.
We have just not. It is just like having stock options not exercised. Right. So my thing is, we should have exercised our stock options. Our stock options is Americanism. We as Americans, those stock options should have been exercised long time ago. And now it's the time that we will exercise it and not allow a president to demagogue it, a president to use it to scare white people into get you. Because I tell you what, if as a culture, black folks really wanted retribution, America would have been a very bloody place. But by nature, by who they are as a culture. And notice I'm talking culture. I'm not talking race, because there's nothing called race. Is a thing that's used that's obvious to people so they can degrade or grade people. I'm talking as a culture. As a culture, that mean-spiritedness of retribution is not a large portion of it. Right?
I agree.
That is why now more than ever, that change should be made. Because I tell you what, that power of love, that power of we're not looking for retribution is not forever.
I agree.
Even a spring breaks at a particular stress level.
And what's interesting, like I say to my children, I'll say, hey, you know what? My son and my sons and my daughters, like, look, I did what I had to do. I'm going to be 61. I busted my hump to get Obama inside there. One, because he was a good, honest man first. And he's a black man. Yeah, I'm going for this. We're going to go with it. We did what we had to do, and generations before me that allowed me to do what I was doing, running around, running around the country with a picture of a black man to be president. I'm lucky I'm still walking.
And you're in some crazy towns, brother.
Yes, you know that because you're in Texas and those towns are there. And, I understood what I was about to do could get difficult. Like, I bought a Black Lives Matter flag to put on my truck, and when I go out this trip on Tuesday, I know, as I told my wife, there could be some issues. But as generations before us did what they had to do, John Lewis, as the big example, was discussed a lot yesterday. We did our thing. Now it is up to the young people, and I was so gratified, so hopeful to see them on that stage. And again, not asking, demanding. Because look at it. If you're a young kid, you go to high school, you're going to school, you got all kind of kids next to you. When I went to school here in Westchester County, in Mahopac, New York, I was of three of us, 3 people of color in the school. So it was kind of difficult, but I got a good education and I made it through. But kids these days, they got all kind of different, races, cultures, sitting at the Asian, the Arab, everybody's inside there. They look at the TV and they see everybody as an example of our population of America on the TV. So when they see, people of color get shot down, it's like, wait a minute.
That's
This
my friend.
ain't right. Something's screwy, which is why you see all these young people involved in this, and I love it.
I'm going to close on that positive statement of yours.
Thanks.
Jose Williams, former CNN iReporter, business owner of a trucking company, somebody who should scare Donald Trump because he believes in free enterprise.
Yeah.
He believes in democracy, something that is completely anathema to the president, the current president of the United States. Jose Williams, thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right.
Thank you, E. I appreciate you having me. And one last thing, you make sure you let your viewers, they must vote. Vote. Freedom is not free. Vote. Then you'll be free. Thank you, my brother.
Jose Williams, be well.
Be well. Bye-bye.
That was my friend. We go back a long time. We did iReports all over this country. We were 2 of the most prolific iReporters back in just before Obama and right during the Obama days. And they kind of quilled that program. But hey, we're going to have a good time. Folks, I want to show you to show you the danger of this president, to show you the evil of this president putting kids at risk. Check this out. Folks, this is a dangerous madman. Check this out.
I want football back. These are young, strong guys. They're not going to be affected by the virus. If you look at it, it's generally older people that have heart conditions, that have diabetes, that have problems. I've been calling for football to be back, including Big Ten. Big Ten, get with it. Open up your season, Big Ten.
Look, I just interviewed somebody, a reporter in New York this morning. And let me tell you something. This is a young guy who works out. He's an athletic guy. He came down with COVID. And as soon as he got it, he got over it rather quickly. But he found out that his body is not the same. And he's going through, he's actually in a study right now. Look, folks, don't buy into a president who cares nothing about your health, who only cares about keeping up images of normalcy with the intent of winning an election because he wants you to believe that things are okay. And who the hell cares what happens after the election? I am still there. I am still your president. This is dangerous. This is inhumane. This is immoral. Listen to what his own sister has to say about him. And then you understand the kind of person, the psychopath that we have elected as president of the United States. I had to do a double take on this one, but Nicole Wallace hit the nail on the head.
I like to make this programming note to all of our viewers and anyone that turns on Donald Trump and hears him talk about Joe Biden ushering in violence. Donald Trump ushered in the violence. Donald Trump is in charge right now of everything that happens on the streets. And even in last night's address from Vice President Pence, when he shared his condolences for a Homeland Security official. That Homeland Security official was murdered by a bugaboo boy or whatever they call the white supremacists. So this alternate reality, this fraud that's being perpetuated on the American people, it seems that another benefit, another gift from these boycotts is that we punctured through the lies in a more effective way than even news coverage.
Now, my question to you, isn't that what the Fourth Estate is supposed to do? Isn't that what the free media is supposed to do? Isn't that the real job, to prevent politicians and others from misleading the population? Why do we have the false balance? Why do we have fair and balanced? It's not about being fair and balanced. It's about being truthful and calling out those who lie. A lot of people would hate what she just did there. What she just did there is what we need more out of the media to do going forward. Absolutely so. And you know what? The violence. I mean, the president, I heard somebody, I don't remember if it's Biden or whatever, who said something to the effect of, you light the fire and then you hog the extinguishers. In other words, you light the fire, hold on to the extinguisher and start saying, I am the one who's going to save you. I'm the one who have the extinguishers. You want to know how he lights the fire? Take a look at this interview here, and you'll get a little bit about this guy. Watch a tongue-tied Trump official, HHS acting secretary, how he couldn't answer the questions in a cogent manner that was asked about the president's tweeting and the disparity with which different people are treated by the cops. Check this out.
Return to Kenosha. The world saw those images of Kyle Rittenhouse holding an AR-15 walking down the streets of Kenosha after he had just allegedly shot and killed 2 people, shot and wounded another person. Really nothing, no reaction from police. He went right by police. Nobody attempted to apprehend him or anything. And that, of course, was just days after what we saw with Jacob Blake getting shot in the back 7 times as he tried to get into his car. Does that disparity, watching the very different treatment of somebody who is white and somebody who is black by law enforcement bother you?
Again, the circumstances around that are being investigated. I'm not going to get in front of that. What I will say is that if the governor had taken action early on, after day 1, day 2 of some of that violent activity occurring there, a lot of this could have been avoided.
But again, Kyle Rittenhouse is there with an AR-15 walking down the streets. He has just allegedly shot 3 people, and the police don't even give him a second look. And do you understand how people react to that, especially after what had just happened with Jacob Blake?
Absolutely. Again, I'm not on the streets there, John. I can't tell you what was going on that evening, that night with police, with this individual. That investigation is unfolding. I'm going to let that play out before I comment specifically on it.
So the president just a short while ago liked a tweet that said, quote, Kyle Rittenhouse is a good example of why I decided to vote for Trump. Is the president suggesting that this 17-year-old white man who allegedly shot 3 people is somehow somebody to be celebrated?
Jonathan, I haven't talked to the president about that. I have not seen that tweet. I'm going to let both the president and the White House comment on that.
Now think about that. Is there anything else to be said? The president did not the childish thing, but something that was very instigating of right-wing folk to come out there. And the head of HHS couldn't come out and say, that is dangerous. What we're doing is dangerous for the country. Again, this is Trump's America, an America of instability, a destabled America. Is that what the voters are going to select? Is that what the voters are going to choose? I really, really doubt it. When I say landslide, I think people are going to wake up in time for that landslide that I'm looking for. Now, I want to play it. Today, Biden came out with that attack, real well written, that I spoke about yesterday. But you know what I think? I think they kind of got some pieces from the mayor of Portland. The mayor of Portland wasn't scared to do it. The mayor of Portland came out yesterday and really tore up the president the way that he needed to be torn up. I want you to listen to this, because this is what every mayor, every politician, everyone that gets on TV needs to be doing going forward.
I stand here with the police chief and the district attorney to again denounce the violence. The tragedy of last night cannot be repeated. All of us must take a stance against violence. And it doesn't matter who you are or what your politics are. We have to all stop the violence. For those of you saying on Twitter this morning that you plan to come to Portland to seek retribution, I'm calling on you to stay away. You, of course, have a constitutional right to be here, but we're asking you to stay away and work with us to help us de-escalate this situation. And Portlanders, I'm asking all of us to do our part too. One death is one death too many. Join me in denouncing all violence. Let's pull together in the name of peace and humanity. We don't always have to agree, but we've long done so without violence. That's part of what makes this nation strong. Let's end this long, hard summer and come together and work to support and lift each other, not tear each other apart. I'm going to continue to work with the community on the historic changes that we've already made and have committed to making as we reimagine what public safety and racial justice can look like in our community, and will continue to do that work in the weeks and the months ahead. There's so much work to do, and I'll be intentionally engaging the public as we proceed along proceed to engage in that hard work together. Yesterday's events began with hundreds of cars filled with supporters of the president, rallying in Clackamas County and then driving through downtown Portland. They were supported and energized by the president himself. President Trump, for 4 years, we've had to live with you and your racist attacks on black people. We learned early about your sexist attitudes towards women. We've had to endure clips of you mocking a disabled man. We've had to listen to your anti-democratic attacks on journalists. We've read your tweets slamming private citizens to the point of receiving death threats. And we've listened to your attacks on immigrants. We've listened to you label Mexicans rapists. We've heard you say that John McCain wasn't a hero because he was a prisoner of war. And now you're attacking Democratic mayors and the very institutions of democracy that have served this nation well since its founding. Do you seriously wonder, Mr. President, why this is the first time in decades that America has seen this level of violence? It's you who have created the hate and the division. It's you who have not found a way to say the names of black people killed by police officers, even as people in law enforcement have. And it's you who claimed that white supremacists are good people. Your campaign of fear is as anti-democratic as anything you've done to create hate and vitriol in our beautiful country. You've tried to divide us more than any other figure in modern history. And now you want me to stop the violence that you helped create. What America needs is for you to be stopped so that we can come back together as one America, while recognizing that we must demand that all people, black, brown, white, every color, from every political persuasion, pull together and hold all people accountable in stopping racism and violence. And we together are peaceful again under new leadership that reflects who we really are, we the people of this great nation. President Trump, you bring no peace. You bring no respect to our democracy. You, Mr. President, need to do your job as the leader of this nation. And I, Mr. President, will do my job as the mayor of this city. And we will both be held accountable, as we should. I'm also calling out every other elected official in Oregon to join me, not only in defeating racism, but also in helping me to stop the violence, as we are and will continue to be held accountable by all of our residents. Today, we need to decide who we are and where we want to go from here. Don't let this be the spark that sets off an acceleration of hostilities in our beautiful city. Those are not our values. What happened last night does not move us forward. It sets us back. I know the values of this community. I was born and raised here. I found my living here. I raised my family here. This is where I want to be, and I know the values of this community. We want to protest powerfully and peacefully. We believe that Black Lives Matter. And we believe that it's the responsibility of our leaders to ensure that the systems that we have in place to protect and serve do so equitably. Let's engage with each other in thoughtful dialogue about reform and use the power of our shared values to move forward together. We must recommit our energy and our resources to advancing the work of reform and the transformation of our systems. We've seen the positive power of collective and focused and nonviolent action. We've seen the change. Our responsibility to each other is to keep moving forward. Portland is counting on its leaders, the city, the county, the state, our federal partners, to partner and use the collective power of our officers to create a better future for all of us. Thank you.
I wanted to play the whole thing because I thought that speech also was very well written, the way he started, the way he had his middle, and the way he ended. That is what we're talking about. That is what leadership looks like. And Biden, what Biden did this morning as well, is what leadership looks like. So that is what we have to remember. One, I have two more videos, but I only have time to play one. And I decided to play the one of the former Trump official. Check this out, and then we'll close up the show after this. Elizabeth Newman, a former Trump official, had a whole lot of stuff to say on AM Joy. Take a listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side. It's rather important.
Some of this is just about how do you get the vote. And then some of it's an actual worldview that they don't believe they believe that if they don't stop things now, that we will no longer be a white nation. It's just mind-boggling to me because it just never dawned on me as a Republican or conservative that's something to be concerned about, but that it apparently is a really big deal and is striking a chord. And that's why I'm speaking out. I want Republicans and conservatives and evangelicals to see this for the evil that it is. It's often cloaked in language that on its face might seem like it's something that you would support as a conservative, but when you dig underneath, it's disgusting. And we need to call it out.
The president's actions and his language are, in fact, racist. Things like, they're good people on both sides, or send them back from where they came from. Those words gave permission to white supremacists to think that what they were doing was permissible. And I do think that the president's divisive language is indirectly tied to some of the attacks that we have seen in the last 2 years. I need to say one thing. I listened to your previous segment about Miss Cooper, what Miss Cooper was saying. Oh my goodness, that moved me to tears. She's absolutely right. And that's the other reason I'm speaking out. My faith says that injustice deserves to be countered. And for far too long, the Black community, the Jewish community, has been attacked for many, many reasons for millennia, really. And I thought, 5 years ago, our country had moved past this. Clearly, it has not. And my views have changed a lot in the last 5 years because of what has happened. And I want to do whatever I can to help other people that used to have the views that have the views that I used to hold. Understand that we have to hear our brothers and sisters in the Black community and what injustice they continue to face today. It is wrong. That is not what America's about. Nobody should have to walk through the street and feel unsafe. Nobody should feel unsafe going to their synagogue or their mosque or their church. That is not who we are as a people. We can do better, and that's part of the reason I'm speaking out.
I think it's really important that folks like you from inside of the administration are coming out to speak their truth because, I think oftentimes those of us on the outside, we're like, why are they staying? Do they agree? Do they not agree? But it's important to see folks come out and with the moral clarity that you have to speak to these important issues because, again, to Malcolm's point, it's dangerous. It's not just insulting. It's dangerous for our nation's security. Thank you, Elizabeth Newman.
And that is Donald Trump's biggest fear. That is what he fears, that people's heart start to match what they're actually seeing in America's reality. So what he wants to do is distort what America's reality is by putting this thing on, they're coming to get you. People in the suburbs, they're coming to get you. And what we have to do is get more of our folks like Elizabeth Newman out there. We have to give them the forefront. We have to give them the coverage so that these good people can prevent other good people from being scared by the likes of an evil person like Donald J. Trump, the most imbecile president the United States has ever had from its existence. Anyhow, folks, I hope you enjoyed that. Anyway, let's go ahead and get busy. Let me call my brothers and sisters out, and then I'll go ahead and give some final thoughts. Here we go. Michael Rudnin, welcome aboard. Dimitri OG, feliz lunes. Muchas gracias, hermano. Bridge MCP, welcome aboard. Norman Reynolds, my brother. Let's see who else is here. Kelly Britton Upton, welcome aboard, my friend. Mother Guns, Trump 2020 is what he says. Or if she or he says, Mother Guns. Well, I don't think so. But you know what, Mother Guns? You are still welcome aboard. Even though you're a Trumpist, you are welcome on our boat, on our tour, on our bus. Brother Charlie Lindahl, how you doing, my brother? Thank you for calling in today and making some good statements. Daniel Ledo, welcome aboard, my conservative brother. Actually, my right-wing brother. There's not much conservative there, but very right-wing. Let's see who else is here. Para ver. Rabiel Caban, mi hermana, ¿cómo estás, amiga mía? Let's see who else is here. Roberto Luis, my brother de Panama. We played music together. We grew up together. Let's see who else is here. Paul Fleming, welcome aboard, Paul. Let's see who else is here. Who else is here? Okay. Look, I'm not going to read the messages today because I don't have a lot of time, and there's some context that I want to do for the people that are just coming in. Please, first of all, remember to do us one huge favor. Share. That is how we get the message out. That is how we get other people on board. That is how we empower others, encourage others to vote appropriately, to vote in their own interest. People have to hear the message. Remember, our side don't have a lot of money like the other side. The corporatocracy, the plutocracy has two jobs. The corporatocracy has the job to make it easy for those people they indoctrinate to vote. It takes a lot of money to have people vote against their own interests because you have to create an alternate state of reality. That's why you have Fox News in people who go and listen to Fox is like, what the hell are they talking about? Because it's an alternate state of reality, and it is expensive to create an alternate state of reality. We, as progressives, we are telling the truth. We are evidence-based. You can see everything that we are all about. We can show you. We can point it out to you. Welcome aboard, Pop and Report. We can tell you all these things, okay? So it's not hard. It doesn't take much for us to do our job. Anyhow, folks, Politics Done Right, like all programs of this type, needs your support. So I want to ask you so kindly to please join our subscription list. And please go to, let me get it there. Go to, it's not going, I don't know what's going on. Anyhow, I'll fix that up later. Go to politicsdoneright.com, politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. That is politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. I'm going to try it one more time, and there it is. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Join us and become a subscriber. You get all kind of goodies for it. In fact, all my books, if you are at that level that you see there, you can actually read all my books online in perpetuity. I mean, every time I print a book, I post it online as well for my subscribers to Patreon. You can also support us via PayPal. Support us via PayPal at politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can support us via Facebook by going to politicsdoneright.com/Facebook. You can support us at our store. How do you support us at our store? politicsdoneright.com/store. And what do you get at our store? Hey, you like my cup? politicsdoneright.com cup. We also have t-shirts, a lot of t-shirts with the squad. We have t-shirts with I support independent media. We have t-shirts with Politics Done Right on it. All kinds of t-shirts out there as well. So please consider. Thank you for liking the background Poppin' report. Yeah, so I mean, you can also get our t-shirts and all that good stuff. You can also get our book. The first one. My first book was As I See It, Class Warfare, the Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. Second book was to handle my weight control problem that's been in control now for several years now. Lose weight and be fit now. How I did it. It will be how you can do it as well, your way. And my new book, and this is it's the most opportune time for this book. Check it out, buddy. It's worth it. Here it is. There you go. It's worth it. How to talk to your right-wing relatives, friends, and neighbors. I tell you something, we can do this. And I'm talking landslide. You can make that landslide happen by it's not about faith. It's about just engaging people, just about talking to people, just about respecting people. You see all the right-wingers that come on here. I love them just as much. You hear me talk to them. I'm still trying to really get to them. Some of them are, those around, I'll have a coffee with them and, we'll come to some kind of agreement. Hey, you got to save the country now. Those are the things that we do. For those of you who want to get the book directly at Amazon, here's the link for Amazon. But you can, if you want to get me an extra few bucks, do it at my store, politicsdoneright.com/store. That way we make a little bit more, and the corporatocracy doesn't get as much of the profit, and we put it all back into staying alive and doing this kind of stuff. Anyhow, folks, I want to thank you so kindly for being here. When I am doing all this work, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, sometimes people ask me, don't you get tired? Aren't you tired? It's like, no, because you feel like you're making a difference. I love it. Because we're making a difference, all of you. And when you listen in here and you're sharing this stuff, you're making just as much a difference as well. When you support us, you are just as well. By the way, if you're on YouTube, you can also hit the $sign and give us a super chat. But like I'm saying, all of you, and I mean this from the depths of my heart, all of you are making a difference. The fact that you spend the amount of time, whatever, an hour, half hour, if you read my blogs and you share them and you do, and you know that, and you make sure all this stuff goes out, you're making a difference. What happens with a lot of people is they think that making a difference means they have to go out there and do a whole bunch of things. Some people say, oh, if you're working 16 hours, is that what I need to be doing as well? Hell no. You are making a difference for whatever you are able to contribute to the cause, whether it's your sharing, whether it's your voice, whether it's your activism, whether it's your body. That's what it's all about. Brothers and sisters, I love you all. We're going to win this thing. We're going to win this thing big, and you're only going to hear positive thoughts from me, because these are not aspirational thoughts. These are production thoughts. We want to win. We're going to go out there and win, because everything is on our side. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you know how I end this baby. I am what? Out! I'm Egberto Willies, host of Politics Done Right, an independent news program. I post several news videos of interest every day. I ask you so kindly to subscribe to my channel, and please leave me some comments. Thank you very much.